hello. Gosh, this is really exciting for me. I've not done anything like this for a long time, but I feel like I'm ready now, which is lovely. I'm just waiting for a few people to come on to watch the video. Um, if you give me a little comment in the chat to say that you can hear and see me okay, that would be amazing. And so what's going to happen this morning is I'm going to spend the first 10 minutes or so reading a chapter from the book. Hi Max, hello darling, hello. Then I'm going to talk about 14 self-worth traumas that might be sitting in your energy system. And these are traumas that, I'll try and speak up a little bit. I'll move nearer the mic, see if that helps. Is that better? Okay. And then I'll talk about the self-worth traumas and see if any of those resonate with you. And then what I'm going to do is just talk about a course that I'm doing on the back of this to help women with any self-worth issues that they've got going on. So, hi Jan, hello darling, hello. Okay, so let's get started. I'm determined that I'm going to keep it to the full 30 minutes, so let's see how we go. So my book is called Diving Deep to Climb High, and this is chapter 1, and I've called it The Kindness of Strangers. On the night that Princess Diana died, I was being held from a 9th floor flat window by a man I thought loved me. The morning after, I was laying on my mum's couch, having gone through the most horrendous experience of my life. It was the 31st of August 1997. It was bank holiday weekend, and my mum and stepdad were away for the weekend. I recognised at a point in my life where I thought, this has got to stop. And although it's 25 years since it happened, at the time of writing this story, it feels like it was yesterday. When you have no control over whether you live or die, and you find yourself laughing hysterically as you're hanging out of the window, and your life is hanging by a thread, it gives you the great big wake-up call that you need. I'd met this man whilst I was working locally in a pub. He was a tree surgeon and very handsome, the kind of man who would take your breath away as he walked through the door with his immaculate physique and dashing good looks, carrying strong upper body strength that he needed to climb trees. He had muscles underneath his arms that I didn't even know existed. He used to call into the pub where I was working, and in the beginning he was quite shy, but over the weeks we got to know one another. I noticed once he'd had a couple of drinks his confidence grew. He worked for the council and had recently split up from his wife. I could see that he was going through a bit of a tough time. Under the surface there was a vulnerability about him that I found endearing, like a little boy lost. He introduced me to a friend of his who had recently split up from his wife, and he had a free holiday to Tenerife up for grabs. All I had to do was pay the £20 transfer fee for the ticket. I grabbed it with both hands. At that time, I'd managed to secure a full-time job at a design agency and had to beg the boss to take 2 weeks off. As you can imagine, it was a very boozy holiday. His friend was breaking up with his previous partner, and we were in a new relationship and just getting to know one another. One of the strongest memories that I have of that holiday is sitting on the balcony of an apartment in the early hours of the morning singing songs from the shows with his friends. The tree surgeon had of course already gone to bed because he'd started drinking way too early. I got on better with his friend than I did with my new boyfriend. But then of course my self-esteem was so low that I couldn't see that at the time. I managed to get a cheap council flat in town. The rent was low and just starting out I needed something to get me going. He was sleeping on his mum's couch, so it was inevitable that we moved in together quite quickly after the holiday. It was too soon, as I did not know him well enough. I knew he liked drinking. He used to drink Stella. But what I hadn't seen before we started living together was how it affected him. He would drink every day, and if he wasn't going to the pub, he'd call at the corner shop for a 4-pack of Stella to drink at home. Stella is known as the wife beater because there must be something in its chemical makeup that can send people into rage and anger. I guess like a little gin is reputed to make you feel sad. I was happy. I'd found a man who I was proud to call my partner. We were both working full-time and just getting on with life. One night he'd arranged to go out with some friends with me to Halifax town centre. I smoked cigarettes at the time and just bought a new packet. We finished our drinks in one pub and walked to another when I realised I'd left my cigarettes on the table in the last pub. At that time they were about £5 a pocket, which was a lot of money for me then, so I was fed up. My heart sank as I knew they wouldn't be there if we went back for them. Someone would have picked them up, but he noticed when I'd left them behind and had picked them up. He pulled them out of his pocket with a sneer on his face and said, "Got money to burn, have you?" He hated me smoking, and I witnessed this menacing dark mist descend on his face, which I'd seen once before. During our holiday in Tenerife, I think he sensed that I got on better with his friend than him, and he'd got into a rage about me spending more time with his friend. He couldn't see that it was because he'd become so drunk that I preferred to spend time with his friend than him. I was filled with dread. My mind started racing. I felt sick to my stomach. I knew that we were in for a night of arguing and falling out. The wife beater had kicked in. I thought, I'm not doing this again. He scares me when he's like this. I gave my apologies to the couple and said, I'm going home, I don't feel well. It was about 9:30 p.m. and I picked up my coat and started walking out of the door. The flat where we lived was about a mile away, so I wrapped up warm and started walking. I knew that he would follow me, but I had nowhere else to go. The flat was in my name and I was going back to my home. I heard his footsteps behind me. They were pounding on the street in unison with my heartbeat. Shortly after I walked through the door, I heard his key turn in the lock, and he walked into the living room. My heart was pounding. I knew what was about to follow. We had an awful argument about money, and for the life in me I cannot remember the tiny detail. The rage in this man was off the scale. Then out of nowhere he started walking toward me. He picked me up. His eyes did not look like they truly saw me. And almost robotically his face changed from the man that I thought I knew. Now I'm 5'7" and not tiny at all, but the strength of this man was like the strength of 10 men. I found myself hanging out of the window, hanging onto the window frame with all my might. I was hanging there thinking, I'm going to die. This man was so strong, just one slip of his hand and I'll drop from these 9 floors up onto that hard concrete below. I started laughing hysterically as tears streamed down my face. Surely this was not how my life would end. Then just as quickly as it began, reality kicked in. He pulled me up and the angry mist on his face lifted. It was as though he'd realised what he was about to do. I ran as fast as I could towards the door of the flat, but he dragged me back. He knocked me to the floor and held me by my arms on the floor, pinning me down. He had one of his steel toe-cap boots on that he wore for work and banged it with all his might right next to my face. He terrified me. I think it was at this point. I think that was the point. He wanted to make me so scared of him that I would not fight back. but I don't think he knew who I was dealing with. He didn't know that I'd been through the terror of being beaten before, and I vowed to myself that it would never happen again. I was quite literally fighting for my life. I got away again, and somehow, and I don't know how, I managed to get out of the flat. Opposite my flat lived an elderly couple. I banged on the door with all my might and they let me in. The poor old lady was scared because she told me that her husband had a weak heart and she didn't want anything to upset him. I said that I needed to use her phone to call the police and I'd be on my way. When the two police officers arrived, they asked me to explain what had happened and then asked if they could access the flat to talk to him. Now here's the interesting part. Because the flat was in my name, he showed me how to open the door from the outside even though it was locked. They told me to stay outside and they entered. They went into the bedroom where he was sleeping. The policeman asked me to go back to the neighbours whilst they talked to him. One of the police officers woke him, but apparently because he refused to answer questions and cooperate, they arrested him. He refused to go with them, and eventually he was escorted to the police car, refusing to get dressed, and was marched away in his boots and his underpants. That giant of a man looked like a downtrodden fool as I watched him from the neighbour's window being marched to the police car by two of His Majesty's police officers. Thank goodness they'd taken him away. I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. As I sat in the chair, I felt numb. My body had gone into shutdown to try and protect me from my emotional trauma that I'd just experienced. I thanked the elderly couple and returned to the flat to wait for the police officer to ring me with an update. A little while later, the policeman got in touch. He asked me if there was anywhere that I could go that was safe. I said that I could go to my mum's, who was away for the bank holiday weekend, but my boyfriend had hidden my keys, and my mum's key was on the missing key ring. The policeman said he'd call me back after he'd spoken to him. The policeman called again and he said, "He's hidden the keys in the battery compartment of your ghetto blaster. Gather some valuables together and I'll come and get you in 20 minutes and take you to your mum's house." I scrambled around the flat, picking up anything and everything that I thought I might need to get me over the next few weeks. I had no idea whether I'd ever return to my little flat. I had a big suitcase for my clothes, my passport and cards and photographs, and weirdly a beautiful new vase that I'd recently bought. In my mind, I thought he'd return to try to smash anything that he could to make my life as miserable as possible. So anything that was easy to break I took with me. The policeman arrived as promised, and we bundled everything into the police car. I remember him laughing slightly at the picture of me carrying this vase under my arm. I guess he thought, I told her anything of value. As I walked through the door of my mum's house, I started shaking and crying, as I've never cried before. The shock had set in. I couldn't believe that I was still alive. I honestly thought my life was about to end the previous night. I felt so grateful to still be alive. I grabbed a duvet from my mum's spare bed, curled up on the couch and tried to get some sleep. But sleep didn't come that night. Eventually, at about 6:30 a.m, and to try and stop the busy chatter of my brain, I decided to make a cuppa and turned on the radio. Every station was playing sombre classical music. I thought it was strange and tried switching stations, but every single one of them was the same. And then there was the announcement that Princess Diana had been killed in a car crash in Paris. Whew, there we go. So that's just a little excerpt, chapter 1 from my book called Diving Deep to Climb High. It was pretty traumatic that night, and what I've done with my book is shared experiences of my life to try and help other women see the patterns, because what I know now in my 60th year is that I wished I'd known someone like me when I was 20 to help stop me repeating these patterns. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Kate. So the next bit is I want to share with you, I've been doing lots of work. As I started writing the book, I realised that the reason, my USP, when I was doing my energy healing, we believe that everyone has a gift and that everyone has a medicine. And your gift is what makes you uniquely you, and your medicine is how you share it with your world. And my gift is to help women with their self-worth. Because as I was writing the book, I realised that the book is all about self-worth. It was a very cathartic process. So what I'm going to share with you now are 14 self-worth traumas that may be sitting in your energy system, because awareness is the first part of the process of healing. So if you've got a pen and a piece of paper, I should have asked you to get those beforehand, and just see if you resonate with any of these. So the first one is emotionally painful experience with money, involved perhaps in fighting over money during divorce. You as an adult or child being part of this fight over money, like the money was more important than you. Controlled and manipulated, so not feeling like you're in control of your own life, the other person making you feel worthless, either now or in the past. Number 3, family approval or love and acceptance withheld. Feeling like another sibling was loved more than you, your parents constantly confirming the attributes, or so it felt, of your siblings. Comparing yourself to others' success, so you see other people who started out at the same time as you, who seem to be much further ahead than you are currently. Settling. This was a big one for me. You're settling in a relationship that you know is not right for you because you don't want to be on your own, or financially you don't know how you'll manage. Exclusion is number 6. You don't feel like you're being invited to exclusive events because you don't feel like you fit in or you're not good enough. Number 7 is being bullied at school or at work, someone that makes you feel like you were worthless. Number 8 is wrong decisions. You've made some decisions that don't serve you. These could be in relationships or with money, so you doubt your judgment. Number 9, guilt and shame. You've made some decisions in the past because of your low self-worth, and they might be connected to your job, your home, your relationships, and or sex. Number 10, addiction. You drink, eat sugary foods, have transactional sex, or take drugs to numb the pain because your subconscious doesn't want to deal with what's happened. Number 11, you can't break the cycle. You seem to be making the same mistakes over and over again. You can't see the pattern until it's too late. I've got a funny story about this. So in the book I talk about online dating and how all these men that I kept dating, in essence, was the same man. You know, they looked different with different clothing, different shapes, styles, personalities, but at the core of them, they were different. You know, they were exactly the same man, and the commonality was the low self-worth. Because when your vibration is low, and you're vibrating at lack and scarcity and low self-worth, then what you're doing is attracting those personality styles into your life. So that was these are all me. This is how I've come up with this list. But that one is particularly strong for me. Are any of these resonating with you? Put some comments in the chat if you feel like you're able to. You're always, so number 12 is you're always on the breadline. No matter how hard you try, you never seem to be able to be abundant. And this is because your low self-worth is sabotaging joy and prosperity and abundance. And this is why I'm going to talk about the course in a little bit. What we're doing is going to go deep, and we're really going to unpick where all that stuff comes from, and bring it to the surface. So number 13 is negative self-talk. You hear yourself saying negative things, perhaps to your children, and it might be stuff that's in your subconscious that your parents used to say to you. So particularly when we're feeling low or when we're feeling angry, that stuff comes out of our mouth. It's like, goodness, where did that come from? And I've got some fabulous tools to help you deal with those. And then finally, parental belief system. You've been told that you must work hard for a living, and modesty is a good thing. Bullshit. It's not true. It's really not true. With all the wonderful gizmos and gadgets, basically you need a laptop and a phone, and you can create the life that you really deserve. So this is what I'm here to help show you. So I hope all those have been useful and it's opened up some things for you. I was told by a shaman that I had to write my story, because thousands of women were standing behind me waiting for me to write it. And when she told me this, I was like, goodness, no pressure then. But having written it, I can see how it's not only going to help lots of other women because there are tools in it to help you, but it's really helped me identify who I am with my gift and my medicine. Writing the book helped me see that my area of expertise is about helping women with their self-worth. And the more intelligent you are, the trickier those little wounded child stories sit beneath the surface. Take a look at the tangible things in your life, your money, your home, your relationships, and look at what's reflecting back at you. Is it abundance and joy, or lack and scarcity? If you feel that you'd like to see what lies beneath the surface for you, please write interested in the chat so that I know that I can reach out to you. I've got a 6-week course coming up, started on the 5th of June. It's a beta course, which means that it's the first time that I've ever run it. It's £199, and I want to make sure that this course is brilliant. So you're going to help me and give me feedback about what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you want more of, what you don't want more of. And I'm going to absolutely throw myself into this course, hook, line and sinker. What I think is brilliant about this course is that we're going to go through all the logical stuff week by week by week. And as the title of my book, the first 3 weeks we're going to go deep for you to climb high. And then on the final week, what we're going to do is you're going to book a one-to-one with me, a 2-hour energy healing session. Because I'm clairsentient, I can feel where that energy block is within your system and help release it and give it back to the person that gave it to you with love. Because everybody's different. So if you've got any questions, I'm just gonna look at the time. I've got 5 minutes. I'm gonna share my screen if I can do that. Maybe I can't. I've not used this for a long time, so it's I'm gonna put the link to the course in the chat, and then you can have a look at it in your own time. go. And then you can have a look at it in your own time and just reach out if you've got any questions. I've tried to put as much information on that page as I possibly can. And yeah. Oh, yes, Kate. Yes, good question. So my book is with the illustrator at the moment. The final version. God, who knew that there was so much involved in writing a book? It's been a huge learning curve. It's going to be ready in about another week or so. I'm just waiting for Leah to get back to me. She's doing all the beautiful, like, pagination and all that, just setting it all out properly for me as we speak. The start date is the 5th of June. The times, so on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock, I'll do a live on Zoom with you, and I'll be delivering all the content for that week. You'll get a workbook. I'll be sending some special things through the post for you as well. So I'll need your address, and you'll do your homework, and then on a Wednesday we'll do a Q&A session. There'll be a Facebook page, Facebook group, where you'll come together with all the other women and share, if you feel you want to, those aha moments. And what's magical about doing this together with other women is that, because sometimes those blocked traumas can sit so deeply within your system that when one woman has a light bulb moment, it's a bit like a rolling stone, and it opens up other things for other women. It's going to be such a beautiful course. It's all recorded, so you can do it in your own time. I guess roughly you need to commit about 2 hours a week to the course. But of course there'll be journaling. Get yourself a really nice diary or a journal to start journaling and to do the deep work. You don't have to share any of this stuff with anyone, but I promise you, from doing the work that I've done, you will have massive shifts and breakthroughs. The benefits of doing this course is that you will start to charge your worth. You'll start to show up in a very different way with your clients to what you do now. The decisions that you make from your wounded child's place will be gone, and you'll make them from an empowered, amazing woman. And people can sense that sense of lack and low self-worth. So it comes out in every way, shape or form. Oh, that's okay, Jan. Maybe it's just for you. Maybe it's just not for you now. Maybe it's for you at another time. Oh, and the first 5 that sign up, 5, not 10, 5, will receive a free signed copy of my book. So, I hope that's been useful for you. If you've got any questions, then obviously, Max, that question that you've got clients on a Wednesday, you could email me questions and I'll address them in the Q&A. So don't worry about times. I've structured it so that you can do it in your own time and come back to it when you need to come back to it. Okay, lovelies, have an amazing day. Any questions, just reach out, and see you soon. Okay, bye.